Biden says Netanyahu must change Israel government, losing global support.
Here's a summary of the article.
Washington, December 12. U.S. President Joe Biden said on Tuesday that Israel is losing support over its indiscriminate bombing of Gaza and that Benjamin Netanyahu should change, exposing a new rift in relations with the Israeli Prime Minister. Israel's security can rest on the United States, but right now it has more than the United States. It has the European Union, it has Europe, it has most of the world. But they're starting to lose that support by indiscriminate bombing that takes place, Biden said. Advertisement scroll to continue. Netanyahu said in a statement on Tuesday that Israel had received full backing from the U.S. for its ground incursion into Gaza and that Washington had blocked international pressure to stop the war. At the fundraiser, Biden specifically mentioned Israel's far-right politician Itamar Ben-Gvir, who is Israel's national security minister, and said this is the most conservative government in Israel's history. Advertisement scroll to continue. Biden said Netanyahu must change, adding that this government in Israel is making it very difficult. Netanyahu also said in Tuesday's statement he would not allow Israel to repeat the mistake of Oslo, the 1990s peace accords that established the Palestinian Authority as part of negotiations for the creation of a potential Palestinian state in the West Bank, Gaza and East Jerusalem. Biden has expressed strong support for Israel's military operation against Hamas militants in Gaza, but he and his team have expressed growing concern about the death of Palestinian civilians.
This post received a score of 5,400, with an upvote ratio of 91%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Title is misleading. Article says Netanyahu must change. Not him changing the government. The current government is a coalition between a bloc that tries to kick out Netanyahu. Netanyahu's bloc is the one with a hard stance. It's the one that was being ousted. It's the one being accused of ignoring foreign intel about the attacks October 7. In short, the US is telling him to stop his bullshit or GTFO.
Isn't just accused of ignoring intel, but for actually funding and supporting Hamas in order to scuttle any discussion of a two-state solution by bolstering the most extremist Palestinians. There were Israeli news stories before the October terrorist attacks talking about the dangers of this and stories after the attacks talking about how this policy bit Netanyahu. And realistically, this is exactly what the end result would inevitably be. Why people didn't think this was the obvious end result knowing this was his policy is a little bizarre.
Source: The Times of Israel.
Israel staying out of Gaza but staying in the WB meant that the PA's more moderate stance appeared weaker than Hamas. When Hamas got elected in 2006, Israel arrested a lot of the WB Hamas MPs, which included more moderates. There was a path towards a gentler Hamas, especially since it won on an anti-corruption platform and seemed more open towards working with Israel. Trying to push Hamad towards a Sinn Féin route would have been better.
Likud will be out of power after the war, not because of their response to October 7, but because of their intelligence and policy failures leading up to it. Netanyahu was allowing Qatar to fund Hamas, over the objections of his cabinet. Of course, that is up to Israeli voters, not Joe Biden. But it's a pretty safe bet.
That is a nice way of saying that Likud not only fucked up the response to October 7, but also created it in the first place by keeping Hamas like some kind of useful pet terrorist organization. Edit in case anyone thinks I am joking. The Palestinian Authority is a burden, and Hamas is an asset. Smotrich said at the time, "It's a terrorist organization, no one will recognize it, no one will give it status at the International Criminal Court, no one will let it put forth a resolution at the UN Security Council."
This is such a clear example of realpolitik I've seen in a while. I mean, I wonder what is said behind closed doors if this is what is out in the open.
I hope they kill at least 1,000 of ours. Then our people will hate them like never before.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.